Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Grow and Clip Bonsai for Seniors. My name's Tom Novak, and today we're going to talk about the rose cactus, the Pereskia Grandiflora. Sorry if I butcher the name, but we're going to use our basic soil mix, a fast draining soil mix. We're going to use 1 part compost, 1 part peat moss, 1.5 cups of sand, 1.5 cups of sifted perlite, and 1 tablespoon of the Mycos beneficial bacteria that I get from Extreme Gardens. I don't know if you can see it. There you go. I like that because it helps with the roots. Now, even though this is a zone 10 to 11, it's native to Brazil. It likes full sun to part shade. But even though I'm in zone 5, I overwinter it. I let the soil dry completely. This one's been flowering for about 5 days. I have to cut this off. And all I'll do is cut it right over here. You can see it. So it can shoot out again. But right now I'm not encouraging it to grow because I want it to overwinter real good. But this is another one. So look at the trunk you can get out of this. Is only 2 years old, and look at the trunk. I got these plants at Ted's greenhouse out in Tinley Park, Illinois, and they have some good plants. A lot of good rose cactus. Now this is another rose cactus that we're going to take out of this container. I bought it. I thought it'd be good, but the sides are too flimsy. Falls apart. So we're going to put it in a pot that I got for $1. Drilled some holes in there with a 3/4 inch Foster bit. Put some screen in there. Here's the soil that we're going to use. It's real nice and soft. It's a good soil for this plant. I know this is the wrong time of the year to repot it, but I have to. This pot wasn't a very good idea to put it in. Take my flagstone out. And as you can see on this, that the sedum grows very well with this tree, this cactus. They grow in harmony. They both like the same soil conditions. They both like the same water requirements. So how am I going to get this thing out? First, I'm going to see if I can get move the sides. It's in pretty good. Try to get the sedum out first. Sedum has a good root system in there. And this thing, all you have to do is break a piece off, put it in the soil, it'll root. So we're going to put this over here. Get our other sedum out. They're a little tough to pull out. They root in good, but it's a tough little plant that you can use as an accent plant. Pull out all the debris. Now you have to watch on this plant because this thing has how you would say, long spines, almost like a sewing needle. And I don't know if you can see it, but these things are sharp. It'll go through your finger like nothing. So you got to be careful. So what I'm going to do is go down here and hold it at the bottom. Tip it out. Now this soil that I grew it in was from a very good bonsai instructor, Mr. Nigel Saunders from the Bonsai Zone. But until I can mix some more up, I'm gonna put it into this soil mix and try it out. First I have to get the screen off. And soil will do that probably next week or the week after, so I can show you how I mix my own soils. But right now, to get the screen out off the roots is a little bit of a bear to get out, but we're gonna get it. That screen's no good, it's all full of roots. Look how nice. This thing's got a nice root system. It's growing good. Now if you see, we want to get a nice tree out of this, but right now this branch is thicker than the trunk. And for some reason the cactus do that, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my shears, dip it, and clip it right over here. What I'm going to do is let this harden off a little bit, and then I'm going to take some of this old soil and let it sit in there and let it grow. But first I'm going to let it harden off, because if you don't, it'll rot. So for now, we'll stick it right here. Now this is a real small root system, so I can get away by putting the tree into this smaller pot. So the soil, let me take this out of here. I'm going to save this soil so I can, all this is it's not turfus, because I couldn't find turfus, so I had to use an aquarium base substrate, and I'll tell you what that is and mix it with perlite. But I'm going to save this so I can try to root the other cutting. Now be careful how you hold it, because you don't want to get stuck, and I think all the spines are off of this. Because I know a lot of people can't afford the different types of soil. I'm not going to do no root pruning now, because I want this tree to grow. It's out of season. But what I am going to do is, this is where it flowered before, if you can see it. So what I'm going to do is just open my scissors. Before I do that, dip it, and then just go in so this part of the blade hits my stem. And when you do that, you always got enough of a cut here for dieback. So right now, looking at our tree, I have to cut this back a little more. I think that's going to be pretty good, but it is a tough branch to cut, so we want to get it a little bit even more. So I'll take my shears and we'll just try to make it a little closer to the trunk. There we go. Nice clean cut. That should heal over pretty good. Now as you can see on the bottom, there's one big thick root here, so I'm just going to cut that off. And all these roots, plant them in our pot. It should look pretty good. Always remember to dip and clip. So what I'm going to do is take our soil, hold my screen down. The reason why I'm using the different soils is because I want you to, I know everybody can't afford the various soil mixes, but later on I'll show you how to make it, and it's not bad if you're going to go into bonsai deeply. And this soil is really pretty good for drainage, but this soil too is nice and lightweight for those of you that got arthritis or hard to hold stuff. So I think we're going to keep it, can either keep this as the front, or so we don't see the stem, and keep it back here. Now this is shooting way out to the side, so if I take my hand here, we can cut it back to about there, and hopefully at this joint right here we'll get a new branching. But let's see what happens. And don't forget, we're going to root this. I'll dip it and clip it. Clip it at a 45. Let them heal off. And now we have a nice little trunk that has these nice little leaves. In the winter time, like now, you can see how they shed, because I'm keeping it in a dry state, because I don't want to overwater it, because if I do, there's not enough sun to let the soil dry out, and I don't want the roots to rot. But in the summertime, I keep them outside in full sun, and in full sun they grow like crazy. And then I water sometimes twice a day. So right now we're gonna put our soil in to the pot. I have some rocks. It's too big. Or we can just go with our flagstone, which is cheap. You can find it outside. If you got a neighbor with some flagstone laying around, ask them if you can take a piece, take a hammer, put your safety glasses on and crack it, or you can just throw it drop it on the sidewalk and it should break. But right now, let's get our little cactus planted. And I like it because it's got a nice trunk and it's easy to grow, and you got, how you would say, instant gratification. So now I go work the soil into the roots. And this plant will reward you, because in the dead of winter it flowered. This thing flowers at oddball times of the year. I'll never know when it flowers. But once it does, it has nice flowers on it. You'll be rewarded by this plant. Now, I got it a little bit offset because of the root system. That's a nice little tree. The sedum we can put in, but right now I can take a piece off like that, and you got a nice little piece of the root. I don't know if you can see it with the light. And we can always put it in the corner as an accent, because they grow together real nicely. What I'm going to do is take and with the soil in, this is a nice little tree for you to try out. I mean, it's easy to grow, loves sun. Overwintering's not a problem. The sand helps with good drainage along with the perlite. It'll help stimulate the roots to divide as they hit it. Now, we'll take our paper towel, wipe our pot. Remember, you can get turntables cheap. You can go to the thrift store, any place, and just keep an eye out for them. It'll be easier for you to maneuver your plant and to put the soil in and check out how you want it to how to put your decorations in and everything just by turning it. Now see, we could either have this as the front, or we can flip it this way. And even though with that cutting in there, it'll heal over. And then we can always decorate it. By putting in our flagstone. It's something easy that you can find outside. That'll help you dress it up a little bit. Now, so that the stone looks like it's planted in there, we can take some sand. Take our sand and just sprinkle it in there. And then get a little paintbrush. You can take the sand off your flagstone. Push it into the pot real good. And there you have it. A nice little rose cactus. Get our rock a little bit so you can see it, our flagstone. By leaving the soil a little bit below the pot, and then putting your stone in, you can get the gravel in real nice. I mean the sand in real nice, and cover the stone so it looks like it's been in there a while. So all you do is turn it, get it all off. And there you go. A nice little rose cactus. Easy to grow. You can get them at Ted's Greenhouse out in Tinley Park, Illinois. And it's something for you to try out. Later on, this will callus over. And in the summertime, it'll grow like crazy. But right now, after I water this, I'm going to let it dry out before even attempting to water it again. Because as you can see, these are dry. And if you overwater them, I don't want them to get mushy or anything else that their nature. But they're a good little tree. Look at the instant gratification you can get. Look at the trunk on this. This is a trunk. And this is only about a year, well, one summer of growth. And just by clipping it back so I can get this fatter and keep these, try to keep them in proportion. And then you get the added bonus of a nice flower on it. When it flowers, who knows? Or you can just let the flower die off gradually and you can get the seed pods out of it. But it's easier to take the cuttings. So, I want to thank you for coming to the Grow and Clip Bonsai today. It's Christmas Eve. It's a cold day here in Chicago. It's 17 degrees with a 1 degree wind chill. I just want to tell you to have a nice Christmas Eve. Sit down and relax with your loved one. Enjoy a nice movie like The Christmas Carol with Alistair Sim or George C. Scott. Have a nice hot cup of tea, relax, and enjoy the day. You take care. Have a very Merry Christmas. As Tiny Tim would say, God bless us, everyone. Take care, everybody, and thank you for coming.